Hey, what's up everyone? It is I am the one and only Silver the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra for the Nintendo DS. So last time we have basically just went through Dynablade. No, that was a really great run for the sake of that particular for that particular game. So, despite it's quite short, but hey, at least it's something, alright? So today for this episode, and even the next episode afterwards, is that we're gonna be hit on to the Great Cave Offensive. So, Kirby finds himself lost in a deep cave full of peril and treasure. Find all 60 trophies, and get out safely. So basically, out of all the actual games we're going to be playing through for the sake of this particular remake, and even especially noticeable on the Super Nintendo version as well, this is by far one of the longest games in this compilation, because, well, you know how the Great Cave Offensive plays out? It's like an exploration kind of game. And all you have to do is basically, we need to try our best if we're able to actually grab the insane amount of treasures as we can. So even then there are about likely 60 of them. So, and just like on the Super Nintendo version of this playthrough, I'm going to be just able to find every single treasures. So even then I know exactly what I'm doing. So, first time playing the Great Cave Offensive, I've played it before, ever since on the Super Nintendo version. So, yeah, with that being said, let's get into it with the Great Cave Offensive. I have to say that this is by far one of the coolest games in this compilation in a Kirby Superstar game. It's pretty obvious because of how the fact that, well, for one thing, as I said this before, the entire game is all about exploration, so that way you can able to backtrack at certain points, or specifically if you're actually missing out on certain treasures, then you can obviously try to go ahead and explore certain places, and that way you weren't able to find some of these treasures, like specifically some of these precious items. However though, there are some slight significant changes in between the forms of the Super Nintendo version of this game compared to the DS version, because I believe there are about 3 treasures has been replaced by 8 different items, which even then we'll come across into some of those treasures later down the road for the sake of the forms of the entirety of Great Cave Offensive, or should I say the Great Cave Offensive. So even then we're able to actually expect this for this point. So now, as you can see on screen, in between, well, let's just say the top screen and the bottom screen at the same time, that what makes this unique is the fact that, well, to be more specifically, that one thing I do appreciate about this version a lot compared to the forms of the Super Nintendo version is that, as you can see right now, is the fact that you can now able to actually see the entire map on the bottom screen as it is. So, for instance, is the fact that the first area we're going to be right into is, of course, the sub-tree, as what the actual, the level of that particular area itself is called. And, as you can see, there are some little spots or specifically, there are some segments that we'll probably get into at some points later down the road for the sake of the entire, mode. But even then though, let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point, because even then though, we'll just have to concentrate just trying to able to find, you know what I mean, every single treasures in this mode, and hopefully I should probably achieve myself. So even then though, yeah, some of these treasures does manage to able to tell you how much gold does it worth. So even then though, we actually got ourselves quite a few treasures, or to be more specifically, we got 5 so far. And thankfully, you can now able to actually see what's going on the bottom screen to tell you what some of these treasures that you have got left. And then if you somehow manage to obtain every single treasure in some areas throughout the whole the Great Cave Offensive, basically it's the fact that you would be able to get yourselves a spinning little coin, which actually represents the, you've got all the treasures in most of these areas. So, whenever we get into that, whenever we go towards the end of sub-tree level, that's, you probably expect it by that point. So, yeah, obviously today's day is, of course, the, I would say today is the 6th of Wednesday, the January today, so in this case in 2021. Not much else to talk about, I'm afraid, apart from the fact that, well, For instance, I actually got quite a number of things for this point today. Originally, we were going to be able to pre-order Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury for the Nintendo Switch, but I'm not exactly ready for that yet because, well, we'll do it at some point later down this month, but it's just the fact the matter is, though, is that my only unknown consideration all about is the fact that there might be some amiibos usage on certain things, but then again, we'll talk more about it until, God knows, until when that game actually comes out until next month. So, but I digress. And also recently today, that Piglet, he's now going to be tackling through his next game Let's Play in the forms of in 2021 so far. That's what it appears to be. He's tackling through Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, which you'll be pretty much appreciated if he managed able to tackle for that game. And once again, much like me, he's going to be playing on an emulator, as far as you guys should probably already know at this point. So beneath Nintendo, that's not much else to talk about. So, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning for this point as well. Oh, look at that. We have Screw Attack from the Metroid series. Screw Attack. Can you cut that out? Okay. I have no idea where I got that reference from, but either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point, because either way though, looks like so far though we've got about 8 treasures so far, so even then though, if I somehow manage to able to miss out on quite a lot of things, most notably with all these treasures in mind, then I was able to do a massive quick jump cut until whenever I decided able to go ahead and trying to able to get them from here, so... Okay, so here's the next treasure right here. Normally you would be able to actually activate that bomb block, or if you want able to backtrack for a bit, or if you manage to use the fighter copy ability, basically you can now able to actually just do uppercut right onto that particularly, well, predictably the actual destructible block or something, or a bomb block or something. I have no idea why. It's really like having some weird, really weird commentary. Did he just kill himself? Oh wow, I somehow managed to able to just make him drop to the bottomless pit below. Even though it's kind of a shame that I will miss out on that hammer copy ability, but whatever. But at least it wasn't until whenever we get onto certain treasures that we can find that we do need to acquire a hammer on specific scenarios, mainly with the forms of likely trying to find continuous amount of treasures if we manage to able to do them. So yeah, that's how it goes basically. So even then though, I suppose I should probably point things out right away, is the fact that differently from the likes of the Super Nintendo playthrough of, you know, Kirby Superstar, is the fact that I'm presuming that Daffy Duck did manage to able to did this mode within 3 parts during his Let's Play of Kirby Superstar on the Super Nintendo version. For this version this time around, I think we must able to do 2 parts this time around, because thankfully we still managed to get ourselves our partner showcase out, well, the partnership as far as I have no idea. I know it has been a while since I actually done some of my commentary stuff ever since like 2 days ago, but let's face it, it's the fact that, well, we've only just got started with 2021, and despite the fact that usually in the very beginning does get a little bit, well, at points, but hopefully it gets a lot more better eventually for the sake of, well, the entirety of the whole year, so... Anyway, though, so let's go ahead and just, well, double check for a bit in case if we're about to be missing something. And it looks like it turns out that, well, we didn't seem to actually miss anything. So, yeah, because I'm pretty sure we actually got every single treasures around in this particular section. So, but either way, though, we'll just continue things on at this point. And, yeah, things all worked out as it used to be. So... Now, I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this too is the fact that recently we've managed able to get ourselves another new console. Well, not a brand new one per se, but we'll discuss on that until later on into 2021, if eventually we're about to be restocked back again for the likes of, well, let's just say both the Xbox Series X as well as PlayStation 5, although I'll get into more details about that in the future for the sake of the whole entire year. So, but either way though, we'll leave things up to that. So even then, for the console I've got right about now is the different PlayStation 2, specifically the PS2 Slim. Yes, we finally managed to get ourselves our PlayStation 2 Slim once again, even though technically that we kind of lied about the fact that, well, we used to have the PlayStation 2 Slim. Oh yeah, there was something different. Season's Hearts. That treasure has been replaced. Well, usually that treasure right there. If you remember the forms of the Super Nintendo version of the entire game, usually it gets like a, well, I would say the autumn time treasure that was originally on the Super Nintendo version. Well, in the DS remake, it's been replaced by the forms of Season's Hearts, which meaning about the fact that when it comes to 3 other treasures, will be replaced by different items based off from the Kirby's past. Which we'll probably point things out whenever we get into it, because for now, we're going to be taking on the forms of the very first boss in the Great Cape Offensive, which is of course the Fatty Whale. Now, if I recall correctly, this particular boss might take a while to able to hit him, but at the same time, I think we should probably be okay with this. Well, the good thing about using the actual shield button with the mirror copy ability, it technically does manage to hit some bosses sometimes, but even then, that might be the only coolest part about it. So, jeez, I keep on getting hit most of the time. Anyway though, something's worth mentioning is that, usually because, the reason why I managed to able to get myself my PlayStation 2 Slim, thankfully we did manage to able to brought it this time around, as opposed to borrowing it from, Capcom74, because he just wants it back, basically, after we able to use that ever since in Pac-Man World 2 Let's Play, as well as SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Let's Play, and, basically, we've pretty much stuck with the forms of the original model of the PlayStation 2, and somehow we actually have some problems with it at the moment for our PlayStation 2, the original one, such as, for instance, you know with that particular disc tray, that usually it opens and closes if you manage to press the open and close buttons. Unfortunately though, that particular disc tray door is stuck, and as a result, it just makes it really pain in the neck. We're able to actually just try to place in those PlayStation 2 physical copies. But thankfully we actually got a replacement, and hopefully we won't having that much issues this time around. So at least I'm happy we actually got that at least. So hopefully we would expecting to do more PlayStation 2 stuff, mainly with the forms of Pac-Man World 3, which, god, best of luck for me anyway, as well as the forms of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game. Because after all, that's, well, technically, that you know, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on a Run, did already technically came out in the UK's Netflix, but not so much in the North American yet. But, hopefully though, by that time, when things settle down at the moment, well, I'm probably not going to discuss on that stupid word ever again, because after all, 2020's dead now. And, yeah, that's as far as I can usually think about it. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and find some more treasures. And this treasure right here is actually pretty tricky to get, but if you time it well enough, then you get yourselves a saucepan. Yeah, it seems kind of weird for that particular item, but oh, son of a... Okay. I definitely need that particular crash copy ability, because otherwise I definitely need to get myself my next treasure, and also for some progressioning. So hopefully that should be the case for the sake of this part here. In fact, you have to do this twice, by the way, for 2 treasures. Like, we've done one already, but there's also another one which we'll have to save that up and join at some point during on Friday. But either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point just yet, because either way though, we've only just managed to able to get into the second segment of the entire the Great Cape Offensive game. And as you can see, we're now exploring through the Crystal World. So, but even then, no, that's what I can honestly try to say about this for the most part. And also, if you see on the bottom screen, on the right side of the screen, according to the emulation capturing, basically, if you saw that little yellow star thing, this actually represents you actually pretty much accomplished that particular segment. But if it's a silver one, basically that means it's like, you haven't got to there yet, or even not completely done with the actual segment yet, so... But again, as I said this before, if you see that little, the coin spinning animation on that particular bottom screen as you saw, what this means is that you've obviously gathered all the treasures in most of those segments on, well, some of these worlds in particular for, the Great Cave Offensive. So, to keeping track of your progress to see of how well you did. So even then, that seems pretty swell. So there's another treasure here, the machine parts. Nicely done. And also not to mention though, is that some of these treasures does have their different names this time around, as opposed to the ones in the forms of Kirby Superstar. That, usually in Kirby Superstar, they managed to able to actually get ourselves likely, like, let's just say for example, if we managed to get ourselves the green turtle shell, which originally on the Super Nintendo version, well, again, I'll talk more about that whenever we continue proceedings for the Great Cave Offensive, so hopefully that should be the case here. So anyways, let's go ahead and get that another treasure where I somehow mistakenly just went bypass it completely, but I've come back for it, so thankfully that doesn't bother me at all. So anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the middle section, which, oh boy, this middle section can get pretty tricky at times, but hopefully if I get enough timing jumps well enough, then I should be able to actually probably do this just alright. So anyway, let's get rid of this, the bomb ability, and I really need a yo-yo Kirby ability, because the yo-yo is actually pretty cool Kirby ability to begin with, but usually I just really need it for the sake of likely trying to able to protect myself within incoming attacks for certain enemy encounters and all the other jazz, but hey, at least I got it anyway, so... Anyway though, another thing I just want to talk about this also is the fact that, well, when it comes to everything else though, I pretty much also got, alongside with the forms of the PlayStation 2 Slim, I also got myself Sega Superstars along with the iToy camera. You know, with the Sony iToy camera thing that it only used for certain games. But the reason why I managed to able to got Sega Superstars again is the fact that, well, just for curiosity's sake. I know it's a bit of a mediocre minigame collection, but the reason why I got it is because of the entire completionist when it comes to the forms of collecting those, you know, the Sega Superstars series, which, some exceptions mind you, which there are basically just PC versions of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Because, I'll to be brutally honest here, I'm not exactly a PC gamer. Well, at least some people seem to able to have their different opinions on PC gaming, but I don't, because, well, I did technically try it, but, it doesn't settle well with me. Well, apart from that one game, I was very curious to try out on the PC, which is of course Sonic Generations for the PC. Even though, speaking of Sonic Generations, is that until eventually on November in this year, Sonic Generations will be 10 years old by then. Which I can't even believe is time itself just went flying. Like, seriously, how in the heck does time just goes? Anyway though, so let's go ahead and get ourselves another treasure, which appears to be the Power Paintbrush, which is actually a reference to a Kirby spin-off game, which appears to be by the forms of, well, Kirby Power Paintbrush in the European version, whilst in the forms of the American version, it just calls it Canvas Curse. So anyway, here's another treasure chest over here, a $100 coin. And I think that pretty much does it for this area, because obviously we've pretty much almost done here, so... Oh, by the way, another thing it's worth noting for is that much like the Super Nintendo version of this game, basically you can able to save your progress, assuming if you don't, you know, die too many times. Hopefully I won't die as nearly as enough times compared to the forms of how it does it on the Super Nintendo version, like what Duffy used to did, ever since in the forms of it in 2018. So, but either way though, let's go ahead and get another treasure chest, contains Falcon Helmet, which is actually a reference to the F-Zero series. Please, for the love of God, Nintendo, bring back F-Zero series, goddammit. I know fans of F-Zero really want it so badly, but I just felt, well, kind of felt like the same, really. I need a yo-yo. No. Okay. At least I got the yo-yo copy ability back. So, because I definitely need that for the sake of, like, you know, good protection for myself. So, let's just go ahead and just get rid of those enemies here. Oh, jeez, I totally forgot that ambushed spikes. Every time when I activate those switches like this, these ones. Ancient Gem. A very peculiar treasure indeed. So, I'm quite surprised that we almost nearly at the halfway point in Kirby Superstar Ultra so far. Even though, mind you, we still got a lot of... Oh, you... Get back here. Or maybe he just run off like super duper fast. I think he just goes off screen. Right. That means I have to get myself a some sort of like a different copy ability. Mainly like, does Cutter usually helps? Of course it helps. Thankfully we actually got that at least. So we have a cell phone, which is actually a reference to Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. So I think it's another one of those items that's been replaced, mainly with, I would say, Springtime was actually being replaced in, well, the Springtime Treasure was actually in the Super Nintendo version, whilst the forms of, no wait, I just got confused right now. Springtime was actually on, the first level, and then this particular world contains Summertime Treasure. So the Summertime Treasure has been replaced by the cell phone on the DS remake. So that seems very convenient, that is. Especially noticeable they did manage to reference some previous Kirby's adventures from the 2000s or something like that, which is actually pretty cool. So anyway, let's go and get another treasure, which is the Truth Mirror. And I think that pretty much got all the treasures in the crystal level. Although before we get on to the next area, in this case the longest area in the whole entire game of the Great Cave Offensive, we're going to be taking on the forms of the next boss. So, and let's see what the next boss fight is going to be. Although you probably already know by now, is the fact that it's going to be a computer virus is actually the name of the boss. So, and basically we have to go through 3 boss fights, which there are obviously this little this green slime. So, or the slime as what its name was. So, but even then though, and afterwards it will be a puppet. And finally, the magician. So, yeah, that's one point out with certain boss fights. So, plus, if you ever played the Super Nintendo version before, you know exactly how that boss actually plays out. So, you just have to wait until when he comes out of the actual computer program, and basically you have to dodge a lot of his attacks. So, yeah, that's how it goes basically. So, anyways, let's go ahead and... It doesn't do that much damage right here, which I found kind of odd. But hopefully we'll take him down like no sweat right here. And of course the last phase is of course a magician, so hopefully we'll take him down without... Oh gosh. Okay. That was a bit too close right there. In fact, another thing I should want to point out as well, that eventually at some point during the forms of this year, hopefully we might able to actually bring something new to the Kirby series or something, which might be very optimistic about this, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, we usually have too many 2D Kirby games for quite some time now, at least ever since back in the forms of 1992, when it all began, and then eventually that they didn't seem to bring a 3D game to the table. Well, if you want to count the forms of Kirby's Blowout Blast for the 3DS eShop, which is basically the extension of, you know what I mean. Oh, really? He only has 1 health left. God dang it, yo. Come on, just unfreeze. There we go. Oh, god dang it. At least I got that out of the way, and well, we got ourselves experience points apparently. What is this, like an RPG game? I kinda wish if the Kirby game will have an RPG element to the table as well, but we just have no exactly sure just yet. But I digress. I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this as well. Recently I managed to able to actually just to got myself, 2 new things on my Nintendo Switch. Which, there are 2 of them actually. So one of them is actually by the forms of a full game. And as well as from that, I also got yet another version of Super Mario Bros. But this time, I actually got myself Versus Super Mario Bros. Based off on the arcade archives. Why? Because I thought so. And plus, I haven't experienced Versus Super Mario Bros. For quite some time. And I'm glad to have it, because even then though, that it was basically based off on the Super Mario Bros. Game on the Nintendo Entertainment System / Famicom, except the fact that it's like an arcade version of Super Mario Bros. Like we used to. So, yeah, it seems pretty cool, and I very appreciate to have that, so. And also, we actually got ourselves Yooka-Laylee, the one with the original game, that, it kind of inspires by the Banjo-Kazooie series, basically. So, we're not exactly sure if we might be able to do that Let's Play, but, once we're done with Banjo-Tooie, we can definitely probably guaranteed able to do that. Well, I would say, at some point, but not exactly sure just yet. Well, at least we're doing Banjo-Tooie for the sake of this whole year, for, you know, well, until we get to the point until likely at the very end of 2021 that we're able to do Banjo-Tooie, so yeah, that's what I'm pointing out. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to, as I said this before, the longest level in the whole entire The Great Cave Offensive, which is of course the Old Tower. And the majority of those treasures in that particular world actually has a lot of treasures. I think there are about likely 16 of them, although I might be wrong. But then again though, it has been a while since I actually did manage to able to play The Great Cave Offensive, at least ever since in the Super Nintendo version, as you guys should know. But anyways, let's go ahead and let my partner companion, actually I'm also able to keep my mirror ability with me, so we can able to obviously take down the mini fight against with Bonkers, as you saw. And, well, usually we definitely need a hammer ability for this next segment. And, because of that, though, roll pointings out whenever we do manage to get the hammer ability. So, oh, really? The damage output is way too high right here. Like, I did not expect. And there's my first death. That's just great. And plus, in addition to that, much like the Super Nintendo version, if you somehow die during the some portions of the Great Cave Offensive, unfortunately though, you can't able to respawn when you die from the room you enter in, so you always have to be pushed back, almost right near to the safe spot. So, oh boy, this could take a while though, especially noticeable whenever we get onto the later treasures in the old tower. Oh boy, it can be ludicrous, I'm telling you right now. But either way though, it doesn't bother me at all though, because either way though, that I managed to get myself like, I would say 5 extra lives at this point right now. Because when it says 4, although technically when I say, usually, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say about this sometimes, because I know it has been like quite a while since I actually did mention about certain things, as you guys should know. But hopefully when that time until when the Nintendo Direct, hopefully it will be announced by at some point during this month, then basically it would be able to actually be a perfect opportunity to able to mention about that stuff. Although unlike in the well, the terrible last year, that basically is the fact that usually we've only got just Pokemon Presents or the Pokemon Direct, which I'm okay with, but it's not my kind of choice in my opinion. But hey, at least it's something we're able to look forward to. So, 3-star Kane, and that is a reference to Kirby Squeak Squad, aka Kirby Mouse Attack in the European UK version. You know, with the one time when Kirby managed to use that against the final boss in Kirby Mouse Attack. That's actually a pretty cool reference, I say. But anyway, let's go ahead and take these enemies guys down, and hopefully we should be able to continue our progressioning. And there's another treasure chest down here, so we can able to you know, actually, let me just get rid of that hammer ability for now, and then let my ally just grab it, and I'm also able to obtain myself the yo-yo copy ability. And also, just like in Sonic CD, boom! Okay, and from here we get ourselves a broken ball. Which I totally see that, because I can see there's a breakable mark on that ball. So, yeah, that's sure it's something. Another thing I should want to mention about this as well, about the fact that, unfortunately though, I somehow managed to able to no longer going to be continuing playing through, Super Mario Bros. 35. Although, I had fun at first, but after a while though, I just got a little bit, bored of it. Well, the game itself, it wasn't all that bad. It's just that it gets a bit repetitive at times, especially noticeable that I swear, every time whenever I get into the next couple of matches, during the course of Super Mario Bros. 35, I swear, I keep on replaying through the exact same stages over and over and over again. Especially in World 1-1, World 1-2, or etc, etc. And I can never exactly get into the forms of any other stages, like some of them from World 5, some of them from World 6, the majority in World 7, and of course World 8, which usually you have to fight against with Bowser himself. Although, unfortunately though, due to the random nature of it, I just did not exactly know what to expect, that I would be able to just go ahead and... Oh no! Oh, I'm an idiot! But at least we got ourselves a Star Tiara treasure though, so at least that's something. Ah, that's useless, because I accidentally just managed to get rid of my, yo-yo copy ability. I was able to try to go ahead and block, but I accidentally pressed the wrong button, which actually disables my, copy ability, and just give the copy ability to my partner ally, and just managed to screw this up tremendously. Oh, fine. I'll just go ahead and grab that hammer anyway. In fact, it was actually going to be in the exact same place as I automatically got my first death on that particular segment there. Yeah, as far as the actual entire compilation goes for Kirby Superstar Ultra, it gets a bit ridiculously hard later on, especially noticeable whenever we get into the final two games from the original counterparts to the newer ones will about to be showed also off at some point soon, but just not now anyway though, because we've already just got started, so... And it seems it's kind of weird that we're actually doing a Kirby game during the exact same month as the forms of how terrible last year was. Even though despite we had a really great time doing our Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, because that game is actually really good. And I somehow managed to screw this up, but thankfully, if you manage to screw this up, you can able to go back into the same room and fight him again, and basically you can able to actually just try this for another attempt. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of emphasis on this though, especially noticeable that if you somehow accidentally screw this up, and then, not to mention, if you manage to screw this up with, trying to get those treasures as well, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of emphasis on like this, so... Anyways, let's go ahead and take down Bonkers for the, well, technically the 4th time in a row. Well, because I do need that copy ability of the hammer so badly, because, you know, one of those segments has to require the hammer copy ability in order to progress. So, there it goes. And let's go and disable my copy ability and let him turn into my ally. And hopefully we're gonna make ourselves very carefully for this point, because otherwise, if we somehow screw this up, then otherwise we will be able to lose our copy ability. So, no! Come on. Oh, dang it! Ah, not now. Not now, Gabe. Not now. Anyway, I'm afraid that, since we actually gone through this process long enough as it is, and, although we've gone so far though, like, I think we're actually on the halfway point in the Great Cave Offensive already, so I thought to myself that, yeah, I was able to actually save that up until for the next episode until specifically on this Friday. So, I know it seems kind of feels likely my commentary gets a bit iffy at points once again, but still, it's kind of hard to pronounce those things sometimes. So anyways, we got the ending self at this point right here, so join me next time on Let's Play Kirby Superstar Ultra for the Great Cave Offensive. Is that we might as well finish up with the Great Cave Offensive while going through the rest of the old tower and eventually the last few areas and beyond. So I'll see you guys on Friday. Later, fellas.